13 years that my dad died. And I woke up in my childhood room, and I remember waking up that morning and I just had a bad feeling and I didn't want to get out of bed. And I remember sleeping in and I was just kind of lying there like I really should get up and I really should go see him. I got out of bed, I was brushing my teeth, and when I was in the bathroom, my mom's best friend knocked on the door and told me that I needed to go into the bedroom and see him, that they thought it was happening. And it was. I just joined my mom and my sister in the bedroom with him. And we all kind of lied together with him. And my mom was really strong and great and just kind of giving him like words of encouragement that he could go and that he could be at peace. If this says anything about my childhood room, the camera is currently sitting on the Titanic, what are they called? VHS. Couldn't even remember the word. The two, it's so long, it's 2 VHS tapes. So that's what you're sitting on. I would watch the Titanic every day in kindergarten. I was 5 years old. And I would come home from school and I would ask to watch the Titanic every day. And maybe that's why I like talking about death and why I'm comfortable with it. Who knows? Okay, well, anyway. So I'm home in New Jersey for a couple days. I wanted to see my mom and my family. Yesterday was the anniversary of my dad dying. We went to the cemetery and we just cleaned it up a little bit. So my dad actually has like a little garden across the way. And we did a little grooming of the garden, which was good. And definitely feels like spring, which is nice. A lot of the trees there were blooming and it was pretty. I think I put just a couple little clips of the trees you probably saw. I find it really peaceful to go to the cemetery. I've always liked going there. I like to have a place to go to that's devoted to kind of thinking about my dad and talking to him. I know not everyone gets buried or has a grave site, but personally I've liked having that as an option because, I try to connect with my dad just by thinking about him and talking to him in my head, but it's nice to physically go to a place that's dedicated to him and where he's buried. So yeah, we did that yesterday. But with it being the anniversary of his death, a lot of thoughts come up about that. So it's been 13 years now. This is the 13th year, so there has been quite a few anniversaries now that I've experienced, and it's definitely different every year. This year I would say I felt pretty good. I think it had to do with actually being home and waking up here as I did the day that he died. Instead of it being extra sad, I actually felt more connected to it and to him, and just kind of more reflective in a way that made me feel more connected to him than I do sometimes in other years. Of course, it is good to be with my mom and my sister too. My sister's here as well, so it was good to actually be with my family on that day. But thinking about death anniversaries, I always have this guilt about it. I always have this this feeling like I'm being very selfish about the anniversary, because I feel like it turns into me wanting to get a certain level of attention or care or support from my loved ones who are still here. And I, remember when it first happened, I was still in high school, and the first year came, and we got, everyone remembered because it just happened. So, tons of people were reaching out to us. People would, were sending us cards and whatever. It felt like, oh wow, people remember, and people are honoring him, and people are checking in with us and seeing if we're okay. And then as the years go on, it's like less and less people remember. And really the past couple years, really no one reaches out at all, which is fine, but it ties into this feeling of expectation around, because this is an important day for me, that means in my head that the people that I love and care about should know that and should check in with me or something, or I have this expectation about it. And I'm coming to the conclusion that that is not fair, that this is my experience, and these are my emotions to feel. I'm gonna move you here, actually, that's a lot better. I just have these expectations that people should know that I'm hurting, and they should be doing something for me. Text me, or acknowledge that it's the day, or if it's a romantic partner, that they should bring me flowers, or they should treat it like it's not just a regular day, because it's not a regular day for me. But like I just said, I'm realizing more and more how unfair that is. It's kind of hard to explain. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I've always had this guilt about making it all about me on the anniversary of my dad's death. So I start thinking about, okay, this friend didn't text me, and that hurts my feelings, or my partner didn't get me flowers, and that hurts my feelings, and why isn't anyone showing me that they care, and that this is not just a regular day, because how could anyone think this is a regular day? My world totally changed on this day. I am no longer the same than I was. But other people did not experience that on that day. That's my experience. So how could they ever really know? No one else will ever really know. Even my immediate family. Everyone grieves differently. Even though we all lost the same person, we all had different relationships with him. He was something different to all of us. And there's so many other factors into play here. So, even within my own family, it's different. And I just feel more and more like I've been so selfish, because then what the day becomes is, me sulking because I didn't get the attention I wanted, which sounds so horrible. I'm sad in general just because it's the day and I'm thinking about my dad, and that makes me sad, all the things he's missed. But then you know, it's like I start like calculating, like, well, you know, just about all the people in my life and if what they did and didn't do, or how much they reached out, even if they did, like, oh, that wasn't enough or something, or they don't feel it, or maybe that was just like they just felt obligated to text me and they don't really feel it, you know, whatever. It's just not fair. So then what the day becomes is me just thinking about myself all day long and not talking to my dad and not honoring him in some way. And that is absolutely not what the day should be. Like, the day, I think, like, death anniversaries should be a day, think about the person who has died and honor them and talk to them and do something that maybe they would have wanted to do. Not have it be so wrapped up in me getting support that I need. Like, I need to support myself, and then the rest will just be extra from other people. Yeah, but basically I just feel different this year. I felt a lot more at peace in that way, where I wasn't thinking about myself as much. I wasn't thinking about what support I was or wasn't getting this year. I just tried to really focus on thinking about my dad and connecting with him and trying to honor him and looking at pictures of him and being with my family here. And like I said, like, it probably helped being at home this year for the anniversary because I was in that headspace. You know, I'm here where I grew up with him around, and you know, he died down the hallway in that bedroom, and you know, so I'm just closer to it. So I think I'm not so much in my head. I think it's noteworthy to say too, like, we have such different expectations for friends versus family versus romantic partners. I think about this a lot too. I know I especially, like, have such bigger expectations around my romantic partner versus a friend. I would always do that in the past. Like, on these death anniversaries, I would just really be so hurt if, like, my partner didn't do something pretty extreme to let me know that they really saw me and understood and cared. Now I just don't care as much. Because I found that even when they would do something that was extravagant, it still didn't make me feel better. And that was when I finally started realizing, like, wow, it's not even that. It's just like, I'm never going to feel totally good from someone else's support, or no matter what they say, the situation still happened. My dad is still gone. I still experienced his death, so no matter what anyone says, it's not going to fill that void or that I'm looking for, or it's not going to magically make me feel better. Whatever I'm experiencing personally on that day is just what it's going to be. And there aren't really too many influences that could change that. So yeah, just like trying to evolve out of that expectation of other people, out of feeling like I'm being super selfish on those days and thinking a lot about myself and the support that I'm getting versus people who have died. You know, as the years go on, it gets harder in the way that there's more and more things that I wish he was here to see and experience with me. But yeah, anyway, so I just wanted to touch on that because I think about that a lot, because I feel good this year. I feel like I didn't have any expectations for anybody, and I don't feel angry or upset or hurt at anyone. and I feel connected to my dad, which is like the number one thing I want to feel on these days. And also like about anniversaries and stuff, like having specific days where you try to connect with them. Like, of course I can connect with my dad at any time, but I do like the idea of thinking about the anniversary as just another opportunity to really make sure that I am reflecting and thinking about the life that he provided for all of us and who he was and the thoughts that he had and what I got from him and, you know, all those things, because life, you know, is distracting. There's many days that go by where I don't think about him as much. So I like the idea of anniversaries and on his birthday, you know, just taking those days as an opportunity to really make sure that I am connecting. Okay, well, I've rambled a lot. I don't even know if that really made sense. But it's so nice out here. So it's like 70 degrees and sunny, so I'm gonna help my mom do some power washing. We did a little bit of that yesterday when we got back from the cemetery, but I'm gonna do a bit more today. It was really great because it's nice and sunny now. Oh, I'm gonna get going on that. Okay. Here's the power washer. Here we go. I finally got